the American church really is gay.
Are you asking me out on a date?
Effeminate.
The Bible appears more to whisper when it comes to sexual sin.
Shallow.
I said, I want the African-American 7.
And full of cowardly leaders.
Are we going to keep bickering over secondary issues?
America desperately needs to return to the Father. Either we fall on the rock and are broken, or we fall on the ground and are crushed under that rock. To fall on top of the rock and be broken is exactly the condition in which God brings reformation and revival. So which way is it, Prodigal America? Are you coming home to the Father? Join us this Reformation Day in Fort Worth, Texas, October 31st through November 2nd at Will Rogers Event Center, just days before our presidential election. And join with the thousands of us for the blessing of gathering together with God's people and celebrating God's goodness with beer and psalms. Hear from speakers such as Dr. James White, Pastor Toby Sumter, Pastor Doug Wilson, Dr. George Grant, Gabe and Knox, Steve Dace, and more. Don't forget our Business Makers Conference, Jumpy Castles for the kiddos, after parties, single events, the Pastor's Luncheon, the Business Leaders Luncheon, and many more surprises coming. America has squandered her inheritance far too long. It's time she repents and returns home to her Father. Fight, Laugh, Feast presents Prodigal America.
Project 2025. You may have heard about it in the news, but I want to tell you about the dangerous reality of what it is. It is a 900-page blueprint for an authoritarian takeover. This agenda aims to strip away women's reproductive freedoms by implementing a nationwide abortion ban, even in cases of rape or incest. It would also defund Planned Parenthood and other organizations that provide essential health services to millions of women. On the border, Project 2025 includes draconian border policies that are designed to tear families apart. It seeks, for example, to reinstate family separations and implement mass deportations. Project 2025 calls for the rollback of environmental protections, dismantling our regulations that keep our air and water clean. It proposes opening up national parks and protected lands to oil drilling and mining, which would of course prioritize corporate profits over our planet's health. This whole plan is a direct attack on our democracy, aiming to concentrate power in the hands of a few while stripping away the rights and protections of the many. So this November, let's make sure that Project 2025 never becomes a reality.
Project 2025.
Wow. Welcome to CrossPolitic on the Fight, Laugh, Feast Network. Pastor Toby Chuck Knox, I'm the Waterboy. It's good to be with you. If you guys have not downloaded our app recently, we have dropped 2 new shows on our network. You guys don't even know this because I'm telling you right now.
Wow. I'm looking at you like, which 2 shows are you
Our boy Edgar started our first reformed Spanish in Spanish
Hola,
show.
mi amigo, ¿qué pasa? Yo!
So you got to check that out.
What's it called?
I'm going to butcher it.
I'm excited.
Moderando. Moderando.
Let's have Edgar on the show so we can...
Moderando.
No.
And so it's in Spanish. He's a reformed brother. He's doing a couple of his pastors.
So we're speaking in tongues on the Fight, Laugh, Feast.
And Mexico does not have good gospel reform teaching down there. I'm very excited about dropping this show to be able to reach our Spanish-speaking brethren.
Other nations also that speak Spanish.
Yeah, but Mexico's our sister. I mean, it's particularly love thy neighbor. I want Mexico. They're our sister.
Is Edgar Presbyterian yet?
I mean,
is he baptizing babies?
He's on the Fight, Laugh, Feast network, so he's heading that way one way or another.
We have to talk about that.
The other show we just dropped is our boy Missionary Ben.
Yeah.
China Compass.
Yeah,
yes,
China Compass.
So Missionary Ben, he's been on the show before. You've heard from him. He's been banned from China. He got kicked out of China for spreading the gospel.
Yeah, he's been in Peru.
And he's been in Peru all over. And he dropped China Compass. He's probably 8 episodes in now.
It's past that, yeah.
Check it out.
And then he just recently, he's friends with all the Nashville 10. He was out there with me in Nashville. He's friends. I was speaking at the Nashville rally, and he was one of the guys that got jail time. We got to talk more about this. One of the guys that got jail time, 6 months plus 4 years probation, was with him in China.
Okay.
And everything. And so he's just, by the way,
those are some dudes.
Ben is not going to be happy until he gets beaten for Jesus.
I know, exactly.
He's just not going to be happy until he's like, look at my back.
You got to listen to that show. And by the way, the fellowship at the rally in Nashville was amazing.
Yeah.
It's the old school Operation Save America crew.
Yeah.
Who's been fighting pro-life ministry and doing Operation Rescue style ministry to Planned Parenthood. and they're all jolly and they're fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Some I mean, they're on the spectrum, charismatic to Reformed Baptist.
That spectrum.
That spectrum, right?
Everybody got a crazy cousin.
I love them. I love them all, and just so encouraging being around these guys. Just the cheerfulness, not even knowing what their sentencing was going to be, and then they found out what their sentencing was, and they're cheerful all the way through it.
Yeah, these are
amazing.
These are men who are standing up for babies who are being murdered. And
with their life now being taken away,
and they're family men and so
temporarily.
on. So total dudes.
Yeah.
Mount Athos Performance was created to support your quest for excellence in body, mind, and soul. Here on the Holy Mountain, we believe that true strength is not measured merely in gains, but rather in pursuing anti-fragile longevity, mental resilience, and a rejection of the soul-destroying hedonism of the modern fitness culture. Still love that. From energizing pre-workouts to muscle-building protein, Mount Athos Performance has everything you need to supplement the holistic foundation of authentic strength and vitality you are building. These supplements also uniquely feature the historic goodness of grass-fed goat whey made in the Pacific Northwest. Visit athosperform.com/FLF today to discover supplements built on purity, sustainability, and the pursuit of excellence. That's at athosperform.com/FLF. Did I stutter? I stuttered.
So
Trinity Reformed Church.
Oh, we got another plug. I love church plugs.
Yeah. The kingdom of God is growing despite the chaos in America. Right now, it's growing in Southeast Tennessee at Trinity Reformed Church, Chattanooga. If you live in the tri-state area and are looking to be part of the community of Reformed evangelical churches, then visit this coming Lord's Day. Exists to glorify Christ in every sphere of life and will settle for nothing less. Join the mission in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where they are building faithful families and restoring men and women to their rightful roles at home, in the church, and everywhere in society. To get connected, contact them at TrinityChattanooga.com.
Aslan is on the move.
Chattanooga.com.
Trinity Chattanooga. That's a lot of T's.
Yeah. That's cool.
Trinity Chattanooga.
So Project 25, for those who don't, 2025, for those who aren't aware, it's written and put out by the Heritage Foundation and I think some other think tank organizations.
There's a boatload of people who are on this. Our guys from
Ben Carson helped author it.
Alliance Defending Freedom, ADF, they're part of it.
Yep. Okay. And so it's basically arguing, hey, here's the blueprint for her. If Trump wins the presidency, here's the blueprint for how
here's what we think they should do.
Can I just say how we got this, by the way? Because when Trump won the first time, we didn't really have...
Nobody expected it.
We had a deep state. Yeah. And Trump spent all his time fighting. I mean, William Wolf talks about this, right? He just didn't have anybody. He didn't have a squad.
Yeah.
Even the Republican Party, he had to fight against. He's still kind of fighting against them. So
we're fighting it in Idaho.
We in 4 years, a bunch of people got together who actually have an ethic and have some morality and said, what does it look like then to actually have, somebody.
What we do.
Here's our petitions.
Right.
And so some key focus areas, so to give you a little context, some key focus areas are like restoring the family as a centerpiece of American life, dismantling the administrative state and returning self-governance to the people, defending national sovereignty, borders, etc., securing individual rights and liberties as outlined in the Constitution. That's kind of some key focus areas. And then they kind of go through and talk about, here's how we plan to restore it. Here's some areas how we plan to restore it. Prioritizing family policy, tax code changes, welfare reform, protecting religious institutions, combating pornography, removing progressive language, addressing fatherlessness. This is particularly how to restore the family is what they're hitting at here, right? Addressing fatherlessness, strengthening marriage, protecting children, elevating community institutions, opposing government and centralization, and more. Now, the problem is you're
gonna just jump before how liberals are feeling about it.
You want me? Okay.
I think it's kind of interesting to watch the freak out.
So they're kind of freaking out.
Yeah.
This is how people are freaking out on the other side.
Okay.
The fourth criticism is the social and cultural agenda. Project 2025's policy agenda includes strong positions on social issues, promoting conservative values that critics argue could roll back rights and protections for various groups. The document outlines plans to restrict LGBTQ+ rights, enforce strict anti-abortion measures, and integrate Christian nationalist principles into government policy. This agenda has raised concerns about the erosion of civil liberties and the imposition of a particular religious and ideological framework on the entire nation.
Notice the lisp and the broken wristedness that comes from everybody who's talking about things. Mm-hmm. That almost makes you say, do it! Let's go! Okay. I was just noticing this on day one. They want to deconstruct the administrative state.
Yeah.
I kind of like that, especially if they
Only
can do
deconstruct it.
Yeah, deconstruct it and implement
I want to nuke the administrative state.
I don't want to take it down one scaffold at a time.
I want to burn it down to the ground.
And they do add they want to implement conservative policies across the federal government. They have leadership and organizations. The Heritage Foundation is facilitating the work, but it's presented as a collective effort from the entire conservative movement. So they have a board of think tank people that they want to put in there to do this. But I think you're right. It's always like, it's not just, we want it. No. I want it to go away.
Yeah. Right.
Let's make it go away.
So this is in the news, though.
This is in the news.
And they're bringing it up to VP presidential hopefuls. Marco Rubio and JD Vance in particular are being questioned about this. Do you agree with Project 2025?
Yeah.
On the question of the abortion pill, what so many of us have said is that, look, we certainly don't, the Supreme Court made a decision saying that the American people should have access to that medication. Donald Trump has supported that opinion. I support that opinion. I think it's important to say that we actually have to have an important conversation in this country about what our abortion policy should be. Donald Trump is the pragmatic leader here. He's saying most abortion policy is going to be decided by the states. We want to make it easier and more affordable for young women and parents to have families to begin with. We want to lower housing costs, eliminate those surprise medical bills that so many families see after they have a baby. That's the Trump and Republican approach to this issue. Meanwhile, Joe Biden wants taxpayer-funded abortion up to the moment of birth. It's so crazy to me how the Democrats frame this as Republicans. Just let me finish, Kristen. They frame Democrats as being reasonable and pragmatic when in reality, Republicans are the one trying to find some common ground here.
As you know, very few abortions take place later in pregnancy, and almost always because there is a medical emergency. I know Trump is trying to distance himself from Project 2025, but we have to point out that a number of people who are involved with it are former Trump officials, Ben Carson, Peter Navarro, Russ Vought, and others. But just to be clear, you support mifepristone being accessible.
Yes, Kristen, I do. But again, on the Project 2025 issue, what the media and the Democrats are trying to do is attach its most unpopular elements to the Trump administration. It's a 900-page document. I guarantee there are things that Trump likes and dislikes about that 900-page document, but he is the person who will determine the agenda of the next administration. All he said very explicitly is, I am in charge of the next administration because I'm the person running for president. It's just important to make that clarification.
You notice something here? Just at the end of it?
You do believe in having the right to poison babies when they're very small.
So the couple things really, exactly. A couple things here immediately, though. Just at the beginning of this, I just want everybody to know he's not talking to us.
No.
Right? If you're a Christian, a conservative, a pro-lifer, I just want you to know, nothing he said in this is he talking to us at all.
Right.
This is not for us conservative people who want to end abortion. He feels he already has us in his pocket.
Yeah, that's right. That's
what he said.
Well, he is on NBC,
and part of the evidence,
MSNBC.
Part of the evidence of of that actual point is he said it at the end. Notice what he said. He's like, they are trying to take the more extreme elements of the. Oh, he just called us extreme.
You know, they're talking like.
Did you
Bill
notice
Clinton.
that?
Safe, legal, and rare is really what he's going for.
Well, not just that, but he's calling the conservatives extreme. Right. The ones who says, no, we shouldn't have abortion legal in America at all.
Right.
And so they're trying to take, and that's what's inside of this. He knows what he's doing. And he's playing politics, and it's really disgusting.
Yeah.
And so we've talked about this before here. They know they have us in their pocket.
Yeah. Do you think? I wonder too. And he's talking like a pragmatist.
Yeah.
And he's just like, and this is how Trump is. He's like, we have to be moderate or else we can't get elected, kind of thing. I really wonder though if somebody's actually done the math, like even just on the numbers, because there are, I'm sure, millions of conservative Christians who cannot be bothered to get out of bed on election day because of this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of this kind of stuff. Because they're like, they're all the same. Uniparty.
Yeah.
Well, one person wants to drive off the cliff at 90 miles an hour, and the other guy wants to drive off at 75.
Yeah. Well, and I want to bring in Marco Rubio to this because I want to notice you got to notice the pattern here.
Well, I think our platform has to reflect our nominee. And our nominee's position actually happens to be one grounded in reality. The Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, and what that basically means is that now it's not states, it's voters at individual states who will get to decide how and to what level they want to restrict abortion, if at all. Some states will have restrictions, some states will not. Well, there's only one pro-life candidate in this race, and it's Donald Trump. I think his position on this has been that the reality, and that is you can't pass a federal law now, even if we wanted to. You couldn't pass one.
Did you hear that same lisp and broken wristedness from these guys? I hear it. It smells horrible.
Yeah.
Like this is, for Rubio to say, again, they're not talking to us. I've said this before. They got the 30, you got 30 and 40, right? You got the 30% liberal, you got the 40% conservative, and then you got this gooey 30% that you have to get if you really want to win an election. They know they're trying to get that 30%. And they know since Roe v. Wade was overturned, they know that a lot of people have been made by the left to feel uncomfortable about this. And they're not trying. They didn't celebrate hardcore at all. Our Republican people, we should have had that red wave. They got quiet.
Yep.
And we forgot. They got quiet because they were afraid they were going to lose their jobs because they actually had a real victory. They didn't want to celebrate it.
This is one of the things that I think some of the Christian nationalist guys talk about a fair bit is that it's coddle left.
Yep.
Hit right.
Yep.
That's right.
They call us extremists.
Yep.
Because they want to end abortion. They want to save all the babies. They want to protect all of the little ones. They can elbow hard right and then coddle left. And that tells you who they're actually talking to. I also wonder if they're just talking to Trump.
But they definitely want Trump's. They want to be VP.
They're trying to be.
But this is how I don't ever want our. I consider myself part of the Republican Party. I was a precinct leader for something like 10 years. I can't even remember when I started. That's how bad it was. But the whole point of the Republican infrastructure and the Republican platform is to hold accountable our leaders. To hold accountable our people. To hold accountable those people who are running.
That. Yes.
And if I think it was JD who said this, or maybe Marco Rubio said this in a later clip, but they're like, the Republican platform should change to conform to our new leader,
which is what's being proposed.
Yes.
I think proposals came out today.
Yeah. So proposals are already starting to. So next week is the Republican convention, and proposals are already starting to come out. Here's one proposal right now. I just lost it. Doggone it. Let me get back to my notes. But they're already proposing basically in the Republican platform change because right now it's a national abortion ban on the Republican platform right now. Yeah. Right now
is actually part of the Republican platform.
Thank you.
Yes.
Is that there be a national ban on abortion
because killing people is kind of wrong.
Period.
Murder's wrong.
Yeah. Even
right?
by the way,
I got that right?
Yeah,
okay, just making sure.
Still wrong.
Because
since Cain and Abel,
a new draft is being proposed at the RNC platform on abortion. This is what it reads. This new draft. We proudly stand for families and life. We believe that the 14th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States guarantees that no person can be denied life or liberty without due process, and that the states are therefore free to pass laws protecting those rights. Free to pass laws protecting. Should.
Must.
Not free. Must,
Should.
Right? Yeah. After 51 years, because of us, the Republicans, because of us, that power has been given to the state and to the people for vote. We will oppose late-term abortion while supporting mothers and policies that advance prenatal care, access to birth control, and IVF.
Oh.
So that's already...
There's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're again, the Republicans are taking credit for this.
Yeah.
It's not like God did this. We did this.
We did this.
Yeah. Because of us.
Because we're so great.
And so they're already softening, the proposal already softening. They're also, I heard, I've been able to read the language.
Removing a ban? And removing the call ban. For the national ban.
Yep. That's what I heard. And then thirdly, I heard that they're also potentially playing with traditional marriage definitions.
Oh, really?
But I haven't seen language on that. Don't take that for what it is. But
I wonder if that's how often that's been proposed. I'm sure different groups can bring different proposals every year.
The Log Cabin Republicans have been around since the 70s. Yeah, they're a gay organization.
Right. Yeah. But it sure looks like there's going to be attempts. I mean, given what Rubio and Vance are saying, they're already sort of signaling, distancing themselves from, for example, abortion pills. These are chemical abortions.
Yep. IVF.
IVF, of course, in vitro fertilization creates these
a life
babies in test tubes. Yep. And many times they're either disposed of just down the drain or frozen indefinitely. this is despite whatever is sometimes has been intended to be used to help infertile couples conceive,
causes more death.
It's causing more death.
Yeah.
It's almost always. I've heard that there are some maybe very, very careful clinics that like really only ever like whatever they create, they actually put in a womb.
Yeah.
But it's like that's not usually what's going on.
Can I talk about their strategy here for a second?
Yeah.
They're trying to act like that this is a strategic point where we can win on the states having full control to make the decisions they want to make. Is that a win if you don't get it on the federal level? Do you think that's a win? Because they're let's just say
actually, 14th Amendment is a federal amendment.
I got it.
No, you don't.
I'm with you, Gabe. I'm with you.
I'm so frustrated right now.
I love that energy, Gabe. Keep it up. Just don't punch me. But they're thinking, let's just say they're thinking to themselves, listen, let's give the states full rights to do all that they want to do and they can pass it. And let's create the fight between states of life and versus states of death. And let's see where we go from there.
If that's the best we can do, like I'll take it. But this is the part where I'm like, we need a Christian prince who says we are going to protect all life in this country. Give me the bill and I'm going to sign it. I love that.
Yeah, where's that guy at?
Where, like, yeah, I mean, like if George Washington walks in the room and says we ain't killing any babies in this country anymore, Congress, give me a bill. I'm gonna sign it on day one.
Toby, I still think
that does sound good.
But
I ain't gonna lie.
But here's the thing. But here's the thing. That's not walking outside of the law. That is embracing the law.
Yeah. Yes.
That is embracing God's law and one of the most essential laws. I mean, this is like the first law given with a penalty in the whole Bible.
Yes.
Is if you shed man's blood, your blood will be shed. That's Genesis 9. Genesis 9.
Yep.
I mean, that's straight after the flood.
Right.
So this is not going into the nitty gritty of like the minutia of policy and all this. This is just like people have that when a life has been created by God, you may not take it without his permission.
Yeah.
And the one, like you had one job.
Yeah.
Like civil magistrates have one job is to protect life and to punish those who would seek to take it.
You know, this doesn't make me feel very strongly about any of their human flourishing policies. I'm just going to say.
I don't believe you.
Like if they can't get this one right. This is really simple.
And like underline this too with like the rape and incest exceptions.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't like they need to be so embarrassed every time they say rape and incest, even with rape and incest. Remember what they're saying is that the victim of a crime should also be punished.
There's no justice there.
Right? They're saying when a baby is created through a crime, we should execute one of the victims. That's just insane. They need to be laughed off the stage by saying this kind of thing.
The other thing that you just said, you're talking about the kind of the leader that would come out and say, give me the bill that bans abortion in America, I'll sign it.
Yeah.
And he needs to say something else too to the people. If you have a senator, if you have a governor, if you have anybody in your state that doesn't feel this way, you need to vote them out of office ASAP.
100%.
We got next term. Let's do it. Let's get this out of here so we can actually get the right type of, because that bully pulpit matters.
Yes, it does.
And since everybody, and that's one of the.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, like if, for example, if Trump himself would just stand up, I mean, like he's been the best things he's done on abortion has been the way he has described late-term abortions.
That was the best.
He is so good at that, and he does it way better than any other milquetoast, limp-wristed Republican has done it for decades. I mean, the way he's described it, I still remember that first debate with Hillary Clinton, and the way he described an abortion, a partial birth abortion. It was just, I mean, it was brutal.
Yeah.
And he just won. He just won. Wow. And if he would do the same thing all the way down and be like, a life is a life. God gives life. We protect life.
Go ahead.
Toby needs to read this ad.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of thoughts.
A bunch
that I
of
want to
thoughts.
bring in.
Yeah, you're probably going to punch something.
Kepler is an online marketplace for classical Christian education that assures parents maintain their agency without forfeiting the assistance of expertise of qualified conservative Christian teachers. Kepler offers university model courses in the classical tradition that fit your schedule and your budget. Visit Kepler.education and use their simple search tool to find the course and teacher that meets your child's needs, or simply ask for help to get assistance from a real human being. Kepler.education.
I was at in Dallas-Fort Worth last week, 2 weeks ago, and I had dinner with David Bonson while I was down there, and me and him got into this big argument about what is versus what ought to be. This is what's happening. So you got to work with the cards you're dealt with.
Yeah.
The ought to be is like, this is what it should be. Right. And David constantly argues, hey, this is what it is. I'm just trying to make my best decision.
Right.
And I'm like, I want to argue both. I want to argue what it ought to be and how do we work with what is right now and what it ought to be. I don't want to let either of them go.
Because you got to get from one place to the other.
That's right. And I want to insist on what is and what it ought to be. I want to insist on both. And a lot of this conversation should be that, but it is not even that with J.D. Vance. It's not even that with Marco Rubio. What they're doing is, this is what it is. It's states' rights policy now, or states' rights opportunity now, and the Supreme Court world that the pill's fine and that can be issued nationwide, and so I support that.
Right.
JD's not even arguing what ought. I mean, people don't understand how much they're getting played over time. If you aren't anchored in God's word and like real foundational truths,
right?
And then here's J.D. Vance arguing basically for the Bill Clinton safe, legal, and rare abortion policy now.
Yeah.
That's where J.D. Vance is at now.
I kind of want to point some of the responsibility this way. So when my wife and I became pro-life, we've been pro-life. That's never been an option for us, but we came really publicly pro-life. That was just hardcore.
Like out to your family or something?
Yeah.
It came out.
Yeah, it's basically like coming out to your family. But I mean, everybody knew we were pro-life, but it was kind of one of those that wasn't talked about. And so we started kind of doing our own little research and started finding that there was a lot more going on in our family than we thought.
Yeah.
More abortions back there.
There was a lot, way more going on, and a lot of liberal leanings inside of there that we thought, wait a second, we're Christians. This isn't where we go.
Right. You got moved
to where we made a public declaration. Well, and here I'm bringing this up because there is a responsibility that we have in our local sphere that we don't take responsibility for, and then we expect our politicians to be able to do things that we haven't really worked in a local level to produce. Because I'm listening to JD and I'm saying to myself, wow, whatever has happened in the culture, we haven't won it as much as we think, because he feels like he needs to pander so much to that 30% in the gooey middle that we haven't really penetrated. And I'm thinking to myself, it reminds me of my family, where it's like I'm out here being super pro-life on social media and being pro-life everywhere, and I haven't penetrated really the closest place that I have a real effect in is my own family. And so my wife and I were like, you know what? Let's make sure everybody in our family knows we want the baby.
Yeah. If you have a baby,
hold on.
The Shannon family will take it.
This is blood. Yep. We want the baby. Don't kill our brand. Don't kill our people. Don't kill us. Okay. Can we just win there? Like, we'll take them. Right. And we fought this. I mean, even with my own sister was considering it with her son. And I'm like, what is going on? No, we're not killing him. And it was amazing watching her come to the reality of the beauty of his life after she had him. It's like I couldn't imagine not having my son. It was beautiful. But I started thinking about this. It's like the more that we started to fight there, the more that we started to see less and less of this happen, even with our own local family community. And it's making me think, like, the fact that the conservatives feel like they need to pander so much to the center means that we're not engaging somewhere in the center too. Because we got people all over. Not all of our family's conservative. Not all of our family are Christians. But I mean, are we making our way there so that we don't have to worry about if J.D. Vance is going to do it? Now, we know he has a responsibility and duty being a leader, being a judge, right? Being in office, right? He has a responsibility and duty. But when I see him, I can't help but think, man, are we working that middle, that gooey side ourselves too? Because if he's reflecting us, then where are we pandering at? We're pandering somewhere where we're not fighting all the way. And so it's convicting, because I see that I'm like, ooh, I don't like this. But it's reflecting somewhere in us, on even our conservative side, that we're not. We're avoiding the conversation, or we're not getting engaging.
And maybe another way to
we're not telling the story to win the narrative.
Yeah, no, I think that maybe another way to think about this is God's ways are glorious. God's ways are not just okay.
Right.
But I think a lot of conservative Christians are like, God's ways are just sort of boring, or like not too edgy, or not like, it's like, progressives fly the flag. They're like, we believe in perversion. Like, and we're going to parade our perversion through your streets. But Christians need to remember that God's ways are glorious. They're not okay.
Yeah.
They're glorious.
They're good for you.
Like children are glory.
Good for you.
Children are wealth. Family is wealth. Marriage is glory. Your wife is your crown.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is glorious. And being faithful to your wife, being faithful to one woman, keeping your vow, even when it hurts, is glory.
Yeah.
It's glory. And like, we should be in the right way under God, grateful and proud of that glory. It's not ours. It's not that kind of pride.
It's given.
But when he gives that gift, you hold that gift up and you shake it around and you say, "Look at this gift. Look at this family. Look at these kids.
Look what God has done.
Look at marriage.
Yeah.
Look at the fact that I'm forgiven.
Yeah.
Look at the fact that we forgive one another. Look at the fact that we have dinner together and we like each other.
Yeah.
And we laugh and we talk and we tell stories and we get together for holidays and we invite our friends over and our neighbors. But we got to get to the point where we recognize, like, these lives are precious and they're glorious. And when she says, "But you'll give the chemical to poison the little baby," right? You believe in that, right? You're like, "What? Are you insane?
Yeah.
Are you insane?"
Yeah. Yeah. And
no, I don't believe in that.
Like, ask me what I waste gold.
Right? Like but you kill the most valuable thing in the world, right? No, I don't believe in that. I might not be able to stop it all.
And we shouldn't let them get away with that either.
But yeah, he's backed into the corner.
Yeah.
And you're right. He's pandering to the wrong people. And the who was it, Rubio, who's like, I believe in the platform of reality.
Yeah. Well, the reality
that's not reality.
These are not the guys I would want if we were in slavery.
Reality is every human being is of infinitesimal value because they're made in the image of the living and immortal God. You're like, dude.
So here's an action item. I just did it.
Okay.
I just texted our local GOP chair and said, "Who are the delegates that we're sending to the national convention next week?"
All right.
I want to know who they are. I'm going to contact them about Project 25 and what's going on with Rubio and JD
sure.
Vance and make sure.
Yeah, because it's not in place yet, right?
That's right.
So let's not let it be in place either. Okay. All right, if you're single, get married. If you're married, have you a bunch of kids. And if you have kids, you should baptize all of them. So, till next time, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love the neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is CrossPolitic.